blood artist and Marilyn Manson expert, and you're listening to BackstageAxxess.com, where the real show begins.
I'm Dee Haley with BackstageAxxess.com, and I'm talking with blood artist and Marilyn Manson expert Nick Kushner. And thanks a lot for taking the time to talk with us today. You recently appeared on a Marilyn Manson biography special, and I'd like to know how you got involved with that and what your involvement is in this biography.
Okay, basically, my history with Manson kind of goes like this. I'm an artist, first and foremost, and I've always studied, the occult and art history and various imagery and whatnot. And, kind of throughout my own travails and studies, I would find these, parallels to the imagery that Manson would present, be it in his performance, stage imagery, the symbols, and, the album artwork and whatnot. And so basically, I found enough of these where, I was sharing with a couple friends of mine, and they would say, you should really put this into a website. And so basically, I started this website that was based on the symbolism that Manson evokes in his performance. And so that was in 2004. So throughout the years, I met, one of my best friends, Rudy Kobe. He's the person who showed Manson my website initially. And since then had begun to kind of slowly and gradually develop a rapport with Manson up until 2009 when it kind of became a need to have an official message board. And my web partner and I had begun on our own actually developing a message board, a reamped message board for the website, knockopperate.com. That was anti-christened, the official message board, and it's just kind of my relationship with Manson kind of goes from there. And A&E was doing a biography special, and Manson asked me if I would go on there and present knowledge to the layman, since I've been doing this on my own for most of my life.
Now, is there another biography coming out, another Marilyn Manson biography that you're involved in? Not Cabaret is supposed to become some type of book form, correct?
Yes, that is a project I am actually actively involved on right now. The goal from the beginning was always to have a book, actually, even long before I started a website. And, it kind of came about where a website was the most logical and kind of conducive way to present the information, and also a way that was the most accessible and worked out as it was intended, because I'd met all the most important people in my life, through doing it. I don't have any friends from childhood. It all came from people. A lot of people don't know the virtues of pouring yourself into kind of your endeavors and being creative. But basically, I didn't have many people I could relate to in my hometown. I didn't have anyone to share this stuff with, so I compiled it in a website form. And, I've been doing that on my own and, painting on my own, and that's kind of standing on top of the hill waving a white flag around, or whatever you want to think of it as. And, from there, I met all the cast of characters that came into my life. That actually exponentiated the amount of materials that would be in the book in the first place. So that was actually very integral, the steps leading up to it. But yes, compiling the site into book form is actually something I've been working on for some time now, and that's kind of on top of the modus operandi project at the moment.
Now, is there a release date in mind for this?
I tentatively plan to have it wrapped together by the summer/fall. Pre-approval from Manson and the publisher. I've had a publisher, online for this, for years now. But, the site's kind of reached, I guess, critical mass. Something I've been working on anyhow, but, it's time to kind of bring it to another level. And, it's going to include exclusive photos, all new content. It's going to have photos from our mutual friend and expert photographer, Bob Muscle. it's so it's not just going to be a website, where you hit Control P to print it out. It's going to be, a very intricately compiled fiasco.
Now, you mentioned approval, including approval from Marilyn Manson. How is this different or unique, and is it somewhat of an extension from, he did an autobiography a long time ago, The Long Hard Road Out of Hell. Is this a bit of an extension of that, or something completely different?
Well, it's not, it's different. I mean, it's, I guess if I can describe it, it would be kind of a biography of his art, as opposed to his life and as a person. I mean, that overlaps to a large degree oftentimes, but, the thing with, Manson is I never tried to weasel my way into his personal life. It was always about the art, because that was the most meaningful aspect of it. So, just out of respect for the artist, not to demystify, the persona. Even though with Manson, what's beneath the surface is like infinitely more complex than what you see, when you look at his creations, and that's not just bravado that I'm bragging about, trying to build up. I mean, it's the truth to anyone that knows him. I mean, it's going to be about his symbolism and, ideal to have official commentary throughout it. Says kind of some validation of the findings, which are all 100% original, I might add, when you go through the site. But, so it's going to be kind of, from the inception of the concept of Marilyn Manson up to present, the imagery that he evokes, the time period it fits in and what it was reflective of at the times in terms of, outside culture and, basically how it evolved then into multiple mediums throughout the years to become what it is today.
So it's almost like an art history, kind of getting right in there and saying maybe what invokes this, what invokes that, a little bit of an explanation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess, art history, I don't use that term because, I don't want to sound like sterile, I want it to be exciting and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty accurate, it's a history of his art, basically.
And now, this was also featured on MTV Germany. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about?
It was, it was briefly featured on MTV Germany. It wasn't like a big promo spot, but they were looking for images of Manson's weddings, and somehow or another, Knockout seemed to be the only site that ever had those photos online. I'm not sure why, but I think Jesus Christ and whatever other gods you want to call into the mix for that. But, I got the thing, and I just, I always put the imagery online, and Manson had a lot of alchemical imagery in his wedding. Actually, he had the director Alejandro Jodorowsky, who did El Topo and the Holy Mountain and Fondo Elise, a lot of these really intricate, kind of surrealist, occult tinged films. He presided over the wedding, dressed as the alchemist from the Holy Mountain, and in alchemical fashion merged the two halves, male and female, into one via the wedding ceremony. So that was, obviously integral to his art and, the performance he evokes. So, they contacted me about that, and then so that was my first big international feature, which was pretty cool.
Now, you are an artist also, so obviously there's a lot of relating to other art forms. As an artist yourself, how is your art involved in what you're doing with your book? Are you also contributing as an artist, or are you more contributing as the voice of reason as to the way that this art is evoked, and more or less what you're doing is explaining it, or is your art involved in it as well?
No, it would be the latter, I would say. I'm the kind of interpreter to the masses, I suppose you could call it, with the book. I I don't, if you read the site, for example, as I deliberately try not to put myself into the writings because, someone doesn't have to like me or my art or something I present in order to, I don't want it to be where it's a prerequisite to be interested in my personal endeavors, to appreciate, the findings that I've put together for Manson. So, no, my dream is to have, a book of my own art, but this will definitely be two delineated things. I'm the interpreter, I guess you would call it. I mean, the book is going to be stylized, very intricately, put together, like an artist would put together a painting. But in terms of my own stuff, it would definitely be something, I'm not trying to weasel my own stuff into what Manson's doing.
Now, I read that your interpretations have actually been used as models in some teachings of said interpretations. How did that work, and how much involved are you in getting these documentations out as far as helping people understand what they're looking at?
For years, I would get emails from people that, they're not even compliments towards me, but they were just, people saying, oh my God, I had no idea the depth that Manson presented in his work. I look at them totally different. I still get emails, quite frequently on, people wanting to use the site, as a citation in, term papers, and it's like, doctoral theses and that type of thing, which it's an honor to contribute to the realm of art and appreciation in that regard. I actually went to school to be a web designer, graphic designer, because it was something that you can be creative in, and you can express yourself and create things for the world, but you don't have to sell your lifeblood in the process, which in my case, that's a bit literal.
It's, very literal. In fact, when I was in college, I remember taking a modern art class, and I remember learning about Salvador Dali, who used a very interesting medium, which I had never really heard, of anybody else doing anything so personal. He painted with fecal matter, and here you are using your blood, which is really even more personal. So I do have a couple questions about that. How did you choose that medium? What made you? What clicked in your head that said, let's try this?
It was just kind of a natural involvement. It wasn't something. I know it kind of has. It can have these overtones, but it was never something deliberately to be shocking. That was the furthest from the thought at the time. When I was, I grew up in a small town, and I would always be singled out for, being creative and, not looking like everybody else and not thinking like everybody else. So, I did a self-portrait of myself crucified, and that wasn't an aggrandizement, but it was kind of a way of symbolically portraying myself that, I'm not going to change and dumb myself down just because the people around me, want me to be or don't accept me for a certain way. And so, in order to kind of crystallize the theme, a very small amount actually, but I used my blood as part of my, coming from my hand, part of the wounds, to portray that vision. And so, from day one, the first time I did it, it was, and it's evolved, in complexity and, layers and involvement since then drastically. But, the idea always was that my art is something that's really important and personal to me. Then I view it as a direct extension of myself. And the way that the most literal and, to me, powerful way to signify that was literally putting myself into my works.
Right, and that's exactly what you do. I don't know, I can't think of a more personal way to do that. You are a part of it. Nick, I have to say, I find you very fascinating, and I appreciate that you're taking the time to to share this with us. Where can folks go if they want to know more about you, more about Nacht Cabaret?
Yes.
Tell us what the website is.
Well, first off, thank you kindly. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome to chat with you in regards to this, and appreciate you taking the time likewise. But you can see my Manson site at www.nachtcabaret.com, and that's NACHTKABARETT.com. And if anyone wishes to see my artwork, you can go to thethirdangelfounded.com, which is reference to the Book of Revelation. Which I don't think I ever put that out there before. Or else you can actually just go to nickkushner.com, and that actually just forwards right to my art site. So that's a little less convoluted for your listeners, hopefully.
Now, is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think you did a very flattering job of everything. So, no, I think that's cool. But, yeah, you know, if anybody, you know, wants to check out my stuff, really grateful for anyone who looks at it, you know, and shoots me feedback. You know, if anyone has any questions, hit me up anytime via email or Facebook, MySpace, whatever. And, yeah, stay tuned for news on the Nacht Cabaret book, and if you wish for, you know, art prints and other merchandise, if it's to your liking, you know, visit my art site. And, yeah, I think that about does it.
Thanks again for taking the time. I'm Dee Haley, and we've been talking with blood artist and Marilyn Manson expert, Nick Kushner, on BackstageAxxess.com.